Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and some more Hail Caesar faction reviews. So it's been a minute since we've had one, but we're coming back and wrapping up the rest of the book, especially with the upcoming release over the next few months with the epic uh, debut of Hail Caesar with the Romans and Carthaginians for the Punic Wars, and hopefully Warlord will be adding on other factions eventually. So as they've kind of done that treatment, the epic scale here for all their other games over the last few years, naturally Hail Caesar was going to show up at some point. So again, knock on wood, hopefully we'll get to see other factions down the road. But we're moving ahead in the timeline as we've been working our way from ancient history through more modern eras. So today we're going to take a look at the Norman list, which covers roughly 10th through 12th centuries AD. So relevant things to look at are like William the Conqueror, Robert Guiscard, and the First Crusade, and features a really just interesting mix of the units that kind of comprise the Normans. And we have some mercenary action in here as well. So it's a pretty powerful list, as one might expect. So let's get that pulled up for you guys. And then in a subsequent video, we'll be taking a look at the Seljuks. But for today, let's see what the Normans offer us. And we'll proceed in our usual fashion. So it is a list that's going to force you to take infantry and cavalry. Now you can certainly skew to one side or the other of that, depending on what your preferred army building strategies are, or you can just kind of run exactly balanced at 50-50. Now, of the cavalry, though, 50% or more have to be knights, so we're definitely going to see some heavy hitters in the list here. Divisions is fairly typical. 4 units per division. Skirmishers don't count. Has to be led by a commander, of course. Norman knights with frenzied charge must belong to the general's division where present, though. So a little interesting wrinkle there, but nothing too crazy. And then skirmishers here, 25% per division of the infantry. So let's jump right in. It does give us quite a few things here. So right off the bat, we're going to be able to field dismounted knights, so infantry, just 1 unit. So again, and it does come with stubborn as a special rule. So something to always just, we get these weird or just very special one-of units in a lot of these lists, and it's just worth in most cases taking them. It's not going to occupy too much of your army. In some cases, it does represent a pretty potent list. So basically, we're going to get an on-foot list here of heavy infantry by essentially just following the typical stat line here. So 7s, a little bit of short-range action, 4-up morale save, and then stubborn, of course. And because they're dismounted, we're squeaking all that in under 30 points a unit at 29 there. We have a pretty big selection here of infantry with, focusing on melee all the way through very solid shooting. So let's jump in. Just basic, generic heavy infantry with spears. Nothing wrong with that. Again, similar stats as above, just no stubborn there, although short range is obviously a little different there. And a little stronger. Medium infantry with spears. Again, just a discount there, going from 26 to 23 points. Still very viable. Heavy infantry. Now, this is something we haven't really seen before, or very much of. We actually get heavy infantry, although with a diminished stat line here, but they have either bows or crossbows, so this is our first long-range action. But importantly, for ranged units, we're getting a morale save of 4, and that is clocking at 25 points, so you are spending some more than your typical ranged unit. So they're not going to scrap it up too well in hand-to-hand, of course, with the just throwing 5 dice, but that morale save is going to let them stick around a lot of times longer than one might expect, and then hopefully another unit or 2 can come to the aid of them. But 4-up save for missile troops is fantastic. No special rules here, don't really need it. 4-up on missile troops, so having a couple of units of these per division could be pretty potent too. Now, if you want to go even cheaper, it's only just a point difference. So now we get medium infantry with bows or crossbows. Now, the stat lines stay the same as far as combat goes at 5s, but they are going to knock us down to medium infantry morale saves, and that's just for a 1-point difference. So, unless you really want the medium infantry, you might just pay that extra point to get the better save and be more durable. Here would have been maybe interesting. Again, they're trained for range, so I understand the 5s here, but just to maybe separate the units a little bit more point-wise, maybe like a 6 on the clash or something like that. But Yeah, so interesting choice there. And then we also get in the sort of succession here, light infantry with bows or crossbows. So we are blessed with just all kinds of ranged options so far, without any restrictions. Essentially, this is an actual discount here, so down to 20 points, and that might be more your flavor if you just want massive quantities of these guys. But there is something to be said for just taking in the heavy infantry shooters with the 4 up there. No save for these guys, not even a 6, so no t-shirt saves. And all the way down to 4s, but again, that level E3 on the long range. Basic bare bones light infantry skirmisher package here, or well, not skirmisher, but small unit package here. Light infantry with spears and or javelins as small units, very cheap, 13 points. We've seen those time and time again. We do get our token save there. And then skirmishers, peasants here with mixed arms as small units. So our first skirmisher package, which isn't the typical slingers, but here these guys are levy. Very cheap though. One of the cheapest units I think we've ever seen, 9 points. So you can definitely pack a horde of these guys as second or third line troops as well. And depending on the scenario, might be worth taking just for holding certain areas. But now we get into the heavy firepower of the list here, and the things that will be punching holes through the enemy. Norman Knights, heavy cavalry with lances, that lovely 9. We don't really care about shooting at all. It drops to 6, but 4 up on all these versions here. And our baseline of this is 33 points, as we'd expect for a very solid heavy cavalry unit. Now, we can pay to make them tough fighters. No other restriction here. So we just kind of follow along. For 1 more point, we get tough fighters. And if you can afford it, just having literally all your cavalry be tough fighters is pretty scary. Now, one of these units, and we saw above, we have to put that in the generals unit. If we want to give them frenzied charge, so we can either just upgrade the base unit to have frenzied charge, or tough fighters and frenzied charge. And I would say, if considering you can only take 1 unit with frenzied charge, you might as well have spare that extra point and also have them be tough fighters, since you can stack that. So about another 3 points. So altogether 33, 36, 37 points for that one super crazy unit. And then we just get some other flavor here. Breton Knights with spears and or javelins, so a step down from the Norman Knights as far as just potency, but also a little discount, 30 points there. Retainer medium cavalry with lances, so be able to still get that medium cavalry. With the lances, we are taking a cut here on clash and sustain. Also dropping a little bit on morale, but we do get more lances for a discount, also 30 points, so you're going to have to figure out what you want there. Medium cavalry with spears, so again, just kind of a downgrade from the Breton Knights, really, if you think about it, 28 points. Here they do get 1 better on the sustain, so 8-6. Normally we don't see that in medium cavalry. And then the 5 up save. No special rules again here for the Bretons or just the retainers. And then finally into the light cavalry, again, a little bit more of the same. So spears or javelins as small units, very, very cheap, 17 points there. 6 up saves, so nice to at least have that. 5 threes. And then finally, the last one, an interesting one. We haven't seen much of this yet. Usually it's archer cavalry, but here we get I think our first taste of light cavalry with bows or crossbows as small units. So again, same thing across the board here, although we get our 2 long range, so just being able to back up the cavalry with some long range shooting as well. And then 19 points for that. And we round all that off with leadership 8. So overall, very, very potent list. Again, you can do a little bit of everything. Fantastic infantry selection all the way around. Certainly excellent cavalry, and you're just blessed with choices all the way from, again, on both sides, all the way from heavy choices to medium to light, and then a little bit of skirmishing action and things like that too. No war machines here or anything like that, but still a list that can throw down the long range firepower and hit incredibly hard. And certainly those knight units should be your spear tips, right? Or lance tips, as it were. You want to punch those holes through the enemy, get into the backfield, maybe wheel around and get some other flank charges off, rear charges, or other second line units, and then let the infantry pour through those holes. So now, and again, we're all with leadership 8, so we're going to be just fine. That's the bog standard here. Would have been interesting maybe if they would have let us have like a William the Conqueror figure for like an upgrade, like we've seen with some of the armies, and you get that like leadership 9. But I mean, hey, you can house rule it if you want and just copy what they've done in some of the other lists out there that have that. But overall, very potent, definitely a fearsome list. Let us know if you guys have run the Normans in either Hail Caesar or other similar games, and how those have fared for you. But more specifically, focusing, of course, on Hail Caesar, since that's what we're covering, and what kind of units, or sorry, what kind of opponents you've dealt with, and how that's worked either well or not so well for you. Can't really see much that stands up to this. Of course, there's going to be other things in the same time period that are also going to be very potent, but again, just a powerful list if run well. So, and should be somewhat forgiving just because baseline stats are all strong across the board. Let us know what you guys think. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll have more for you next time.